Hello everyone. In the last video we have talked about origin of lean and the history of lean. So in this video we are going to talk about three different type of waste in lean and how do we reduce that waste, and also we will talk about different principles of lean. So there are five key principles, but before we move on to the principles, let's talk about what are those three different type of waste in lean. So as we understand, the lean comes from Toyota, and the very first book about lean thinking was The Machine That Changed the World. Many of the terminologies comes in Japanese as well. So when we talk about three different type of waste in lean, it gives us Muda, Mura, and Muri. So Muda means wastefulness. So as an example, on that lorry, the total capacity is 1000 kilogram, but we are only utilizing 200 kilogram capacity of this lorry. So the 800 kilogram capacity is waste. On the second one, Mura, which is about imbalance, we got the capacity, we are using the capacity, the total capacity is 1000 kilogram, but we are using that capacity in uneven basis. So 150 kilogram, 350 kilogram, and 250 kilogram. Now we are putting more weight in the middle, less weight in the front, and minimum weight at the back of the lorry. That is imbalancing the lorry, the capacity of it. Now the third one is Muri, which is we are overloading when the capacity is only 750 kilogram, but we are overloading 250 kilogram and putting 1000 kilogram of weight on it. Now, when we overload, even the machine or the people, that could give us variation, or that could be dangerous in terms of having an accident, or could be lower performance or substandard work as well. Let's look at this example in a different way. Now, in this example, again, we are going to talk about Muri, Mura, and Muda. So if you look at the Muri, one of the person have unreasonable burden, so it is being overloaded. So when we overload even the machine or the people, what will happen? Substandard work, lower quality, accidents, and risk to health and safety as well. Now the second one is Mura. Even though those two people are doing the same work, but more work is being given to the second person who is overloaded, which is uneven workload or unleavened workload. It could be on the people, it could be on the machine. Then one machine is running lower the capacity and one machine is over the capacity. Then the machine running over the capacity, that will give substandard quality, that will give some variation, or it could be machine will break down much more quicker. Now the third one is Muda. That is one of the most important one, where we talk about that any wasteful activity within our process, we need to remove that. And in Muda, that gives us 7 different type of waste. Now what are those 7 different type of waste? Let's have a look. As I mentioned, that the machine that changed the world came up with 7 different type of waste, but the 8th one, which is skills or non-utilized talent, has been added recently. Now those 8 different type of waste. Now the first one is defect. So any defective items which will be returned by the customer because of the defects or because of the non-performance, or which is not as per the quality standards, that is defective, and that will come back for rework or during the warranty time. That is an additional cost. Overproduction, which we are producing more than required. For example, make to stock. We are manufacturing the product and we are stocking it and we are waiting for the demand. That is an extra cost when the inventory is sitting in the warehouse. Waiting time, customer don't want to wait for the products. And if we are thinking about the assembly line, there could be possible that when you are switching from one type of manufacturing to another type of manufacturing, there is a waiting time between them. So that waiting time is again an extra cost. That is a wasteful activity. Non-utilized talent. When we have talent in house and we are not utilizing it as per the capacity, then that is a waste as well. Transportation, unnecessary movement of products and material. We have to move the material from one place to another place, then that place B to C, then C to D. That is unnecessary movement. So we have to think about how can we keep the material, or how can we store the material in the premises so that is within the reach of the people who actually need that material or the component. Inventory is a waste, and we will learn about inventory in more details later on in session 6 or unit 6. So inventory, keeping too much inventory is a waste, because there is a lot of cost associated with keeping the inventory, the cost of warehouse, cost of resources who are going to maintain the warehouse, maintain the inventory and all that. Motion, unnecessary motion by the people, or it could be motion of the tools or any other things as well. So unnecessary motion, like for example, if you are working on a workstation and the facilities are like 500 meters away from that workstation, so every time you need to use the loo or you need to go to toilet, then you have to walk 500 meter on one side and 500 meter on the other side, so which is like 1 mile. So if you have to walk that much, then it is unnecessary movement, and you will spend a lot of time while going there and coming back. So the motion, and sometimes from one workstation to another workstation, there could be unnecessary motion of the material and the components as well, which we need to try to reduce as much as we can. Extra processing, when we are doing things again and again and again and again to improve things, but once improved, we are still trying to make it more improved, which is not adding value to that product or the service. That is extra processing. So more work or higher quality than the required. So we need to keep a standard, and we just work based on the standards. So okay, this is what we need to produce, and that's it. After that, we are not going to do any more processing. So those are 8 different type of waste in Muda. Now let's look at in bit more details what are those 8 type of waste. Now the very first thing, if you need to remember those 8 type of waste, you should remember the name TIMWOODS. So TIMWOODS. Now TIMWOOD, T for transport, I for inventory, M for movement, W for waiting, O for overproduction, O for overprocessing, D for defects, and the S for skills, which is unused talent. Now if we look at those wastes again and try to distinguish between the manufacturing and the service, how you can identify those wastes. So for example, transportation. In manufacturing, it could be transporting parts or the material from one place to another place. In service, it could be transferring document from one place to another place. So maybe from one table to another table, then another table, then another table. In inventory, it could be the inventory which is within work in process, and we are going to learn about work in process later on in unit 6. And the finished good, the inventory of the component and the material within the working process or before the working process, and the inventory of the finished goods after manufacturing. In service, it could be the inventory of backlog of work. So we got backlog, we got a lot of work to do, but we cannot perform the activities or cannot complete the work on time. So that could be a waste as well. Movement of people when they are searching for the tools in manufacturing, and when the people are searching for the information and they have to move from one place to another place, maybe online only, but one place to another place to search for the information. Waiting, people waiting for the product in manufacturing, and in service, people waiting for reviews and approval. So for example, in IT industry, you are developing a website for your client, and when you send a mock of the website to your client, and your client have to review and approve, and they delay that review and approval, you are waiting for them, because you can't work until unless you get the approval. You can't work on it further. So that is the waiting time. That is a waste as well. Overproduction, making more than you need. So we should never make more than we need, and we are going to learn this in more details in Unit 6 as well. Doing work that is not needed. So in service, if you are doing work that is not needed, that is overproduction and overprocessing as well. Making more than the next stage can process. So you are overprocessing. For example, at one workstation, you are producing 100 units per hour. But on the next one, they are only processing 50 units per hour. So what will happen? In between them, the first one is producing double the quantity. The second one, the next one, is only doing half the quantity. So what will happen? There will be inventory piled up in between those workstation 1 and workstation 2, because the second workstation cannot process that much. So that is over processing for the first one. Also, again, the same example, if you have to work on something and you reach the standard, you met the standard, but you're still trying to process again and again, that is a wasteful activity as well. Defects. Any defects in manufacturing that could be coming back for scrap, going to scrap or rework, or in service industry, that could be defect in the document or defect in the website, or when you are designing a website, writing code, the code could be defective, and that could be a wasteful activity. Now, skills, or lack of skills, the knowledge and skills to identify all above, that is one thing, that maybe don't have knowledge and skill to identify all those waste. Second thing, not utilizing the skills properly, or not utilizing the people completely or within 100% capacity of the people. You got the talent in house, but you are not using them. So lack of skills, or sometimes unused talent as well. So that is the 8th one. So these are the type of waste in any manufacturing or any service industry. Now let's look at the principles of lean, what we need to achieve, or what we are trying to achieve through implementing lean thinking in our supply chains. So there are 5 key principles of lean thinking. The first one is specify value, which tells us that we need to specify, we need to come up with a standard. Okay, this is what we are going to produce, and this is what our client is required. These are the requirements. This is the standard we need to produce. Now, it could be based on the client requirements. It could be based on your consumer requirement or the customer requirement. Now, once we specify the value, what we are going to deliver, we need to identify the value stream. So for that, we sometimes need to map the value stream as well. So that is the whole value creation process, and we come up with the steps. Okay, this is what we are going to do to deliver the value to our customer. And once we understand that, we pinpoint that how we are going to eliminate the waste. If you remember, if you are a project management student, or if you understand about projects, we normally do work breakdown structure in the project. So when we have the work breakdown structure, that gives us all the activities in a series, that in a chronicle order, that these activities need to be performed. So once we have that work breakdown structure, we can think about what activities or which activity is not going to add value to the process. So in that, we can eliminate those activities, or we can pinpoint that these are the activities we need to eliminate, or we need to minimize those activities. Then steady flow. We need to continuously remove the waste from the value stream from those activities. Pull Kanban, which is instead of pushing product to the customers, which is make to stock, we use made to order strategy. Now, made to order strategy is something when we have demand. So demand is driven by the customer. When we have demand, then only we manufacture. It's not on the opposite side. We manufacture and then we try to push the product to our customer, that we have that much inventory available, buy it from us. So we are not using that principle or those strategies anymore. We are working on the strategy, but sometimes it is possible that you can have the hybrid strategy. For some of the components of the material, you can have make to stock. For some of the components and the material, you can have make to order, or for the final product, you can have make to order as well. So pull Kanban, which is the Japanese word of pull, we are using the strategies which is make to order. And finally, the continuous improvement, Kaizen, which is called Kaizen. The continuous improvement, we need to keep improving our entire process. We specify value again, we identify the value stream, we identify the activities which are not adding value to your customer or to the product, or not adding value, or not which are wasteful activities. We need to remove them. So those are the 5 basic principles of lean. Now, in terms of continuous improvement, nothing is perfect. There is always room for improvement in whatever we do in our life. So whenever we are producing something, and either it is products or the services, there is always room for improvement, and that is what we are seeking through lean implementation, that we keep improving, we keep eliminating the waste, we try to keep minimizing the waste out of that process. Now let's look at some of the tools in lean, why implement lean into the supply chain, or lean thinking into our supply chain. Although there are many tools available from lean, but some of the most important ones, the first one is empower the people. So the people who are working in the production line, they are the people who understand the production, or who understand how their workstation is performing. So empower those people. How can we empower those people? We try to enhance their skills and competencies. We try to upgrade them while providing training and making sure that they understand about lean, and they understand about waste, and they understand about how they minimize the waste. The second one is use a continuous flow rather than batch-based process. So continuous flow, we try to keep everything in a one-line flow, and we try to remove any bottlenecks from the flow. So any hindrance between between workstation A and workstation 2, we try to remove it. So for example, the same thing again, if one machine, the production capacity is 100 units per hour, but the second machine, the production capacity is 50 units, then what will happen? You will have a pile of inventory after the machine 1, before the machine 2. So we try to reduce that. What can we do? We can put another machine at workstation 2 and increase the capacity and match the capacity to 100 with machine 1 and machine 2. Then we identify flaws with equipments or goods. We need to identify, is there any problem? Can we improve our equipments to make it much more efficient? The same example, we added another machine, which another 50 unit production capacity per hour on workstation 2. So we have to think in that way, that can we add something to make a continuous flow, and rather than the batch process. Now, sometimes we need to process in batches, and most of the production line is in batches now. Remember, in the first video of lean thinking, we have talked about different type of processes of production, and in that, batch is one of them. So nowadays, different type of productions are being moved from the continuous flow to batch production. So we need to think that as well. How can we improve the batch production while maintaining the continuous flow in lean thinking? So this is what we can do when we are thinking about lean. So let's look a little bit more into what could be the benefits of implementing lean. So although there are several benefits of implementing lean in our production or the service process, now three or four of the main benefits of implementing lean are: That is, first one is focused, that we are focused on a standard, on production, on quality, and we are focused on eliminating waste and reduce the cost of production. So reduce the wasteful activities and focus on activities that bring value. The second one is improve productivity and efficiency. So once we reduce the wasteful activities, it will reduce the cost of those activities, and also that will automatically improve the productivity and efficiency of the people and the machine while delivering the value. Then the third one is smarter process, which is the pull system. Now, pull system, by eliminating the wasteful activities and while enhancing the skills of the people to deliver the work on their workstation, we can create a pull system. That will be a systematic process where we are manufacturing products and services based on the made to order, not made to stock. So the pull system, when the demand comes, then only we are manufacturing. It gives us better opportunity to use the resources in a much better way, and it will be much more efficient and much more productive process for manufacturing either services or the any products. So better use of resources, and these are some of the benefits. There could be other benefits in implementing lean, but those are some of the main benefits of implementing lean. Now let's look at one of the exercise. Now think about what do you think? Where will you implement lean in a supply chain? Are you going to implement lean at the retailer? Are you going to implement lean at distributor? Are you going to implement lean in manufacturing, or you are going to implement lean in supplier? So think about it. Come up your understanding. What do you think where the lean should be implemented? Supplier, manufacturer, distributor, retailer, or the shopper, or logistics, or in the entire process. What do you think? Where should we implement lean in a supply chain? Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.